As soon as you plug into the outlet, your actuator will be energized, and you can use this to run it up and down. And then you flick the protected switch up, and that gives energy to the VFD. It'll initialize, come on. It's set to display the last setting that it ran at, which was at 87. I've got the knob set up to read 0 to 100, so it's the percentage of, 100 is a full power. And so that's the way it's set up to read. You can set it up to read other things if you want to set it up to read RPM. Whatever number you want to set it up, you can set that up later if you read the instructions on it. It's got a forward and reverse button here. Forward and reverse. This is run and stop. So you run it, then you stop it. When it's flashing, it's in a standby mode. You can use the program button to display different things. This one will display in amperage. Let's see, that's the custom numbers, that's 0 to 100. This one, I'm not sure what that's going to display. Alright, so if you want to see how many amps you're pulling on the motor, you can do that. Alright, so I've got the speed pot turned all the way down. I'll hit the run button. So you can see it's pulling 1.1, 1.2. At 50%, it's going to pull a little bit more. At 80%, that's no load. You can switch over to key percentage, so I'll see that's 87%. 54%. Hit stop. It's got a brake set up on it. You can adjust that as well. If you don't like the way it stops, you can adjust the brake settings. I'm going to go in reverse, so I'm going to turn the speed down, turn the speed off, and hit the reverse. Reverse comes over here. Flashing is indicating that we're standby. I'm going to hit the run. Now we got reverse highlighted, and it stops flashing. That means that we're energized. We just don't have any speed selected, so I'm going to select the speed. Now we're going in reverse. Stop. I give about an 8-inch drop on there. That allows you to travel up and down your platen as much as you want to, so you can use the whole surface of it before you have to change one. Actuator setup, actuator power supply, it's all plug and play. The actuator power supply is tapped into the VFD off of the hot line, so whenever, like I mentioned before, whenever it's plugged in, your actuator power supply is hot. You can't mess them up. It's got, they're keyed, so they're different. This is a 5-pin, this is a 4-pin. I will send some cable ties that you can stick, if you want to stick the cable on someplace. This will have some of a heavy-duty Velcro type material called Dual Lock, and I'll put that on there, and usually I stick the power supply on the back of the, usually I'll mount the power supply over here on the back or on the side of the VFD mount post, just to keep it out of the way, and then I'll use the cable ties to kind of tidy up the cables. And then this you can put wherever you want. You could use some of the Dual Lock if you wanted, and you could just stick it right there, and then you just have an up and down whenever you needed it in the same place. Go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and pull off the guide, and we'll change over to the contact wheel. The guide can come off in a number of ways, so I'm going to just pull the whole thing out. And it's nice because as you pull it out, you can preserve the settings so that if you have an angle set and everything's set, you need to take it out and change to a wheel or do some other operation, but you're not done yet, or you want to repeat that still, and then you can put it back in and its settings will be the same as long as you haven't changed, like this or whatever. If you haven't rotated this piece, then the relationship should stay the same. And I've done that quite a few times myself, where I'll do that, especially when I'm grinding a big batch of knives, and I have something else I need to get done, but I'm not done grinding the batch. I'll take the guide out, do whatever task it is I need. Maybe I'll need to do something on the wheel, or just grind something else. And then when I'm ready to grind more on the knives, I'll put it back in, and it's all set up, and I can just pick straight up. I built my process around stuff like that because my time used to be, it's still very limited when I could grind, so I didn't want to come out and have to, be in the right mood and the stars all aligned perfectly for me to be able to grind. I just wanted to come out and just, okay, I got 20 minutes, I'm going to grind a knife or two. And, even if my head wasn't on straight or something, I could come out and the guide would help me. Get those handles up out of the way. Okay. Okay. Alright, so got the belt on there. I'm going to go ahead and tension it. I just do it by feel. You'll get a feel for it, I believe, if you've been around equipment and things. You don't want it super tight, but belts, the Cubitrons can take more tension than the cheaper belts. And I definitely recommend using Cubitrons as much as you can when you're grinding high speed, heavy removals and stuff like that. They cut faster, cut cooler, last longer, and can tolerate the wear better. They're an industrial belt. They're not a hobby level belt. But you want to run them fast and hard to keep them sharp. If you run them slow or run them too light of cutting speeds, they'll get dull. And if that happens, then you can speed them up and use a dressing stone, or hit them with a piece of hardened metal or something like that, and it'll bring back the edge to them, sharpen them up again. So don't throw them out too soon. All right, that's not bad there. Quick check. All right, so I shut it down at 52% speed last time, and that's why it's flashing at 52. So if I hit run, it will start straight up at 52. I'm comfortable with the tracking, so I'm going to go ahead and just hit it and start it right there. You can run it up to 100. 100% is 7,000 surface foot per minute. I'll hit stop. Gives a good stop. Let me check backwards here. All right, I'm going to hit it in reverse. I'm going to start out slow. Let me get reverse. Arm it. Start out slow. Goes in reverse good. I've never run it in reverse. I can't think of any time I've ever ground in reverse, but there's a lot of people that do. They'll grind up here on the slack belt area to get a convex grind. And you can run the bevel guide on here as well when you're doing hollow grinds. It's a small wheel attachment. Small wheel attachment holds here. These have a little bit of play in them. So what I mean by that is because of the holes that go through there, you can try to demonstrate here. You can get the two sides. One side, the outside, can cock up or down a little bit. And so I've been building these for quite a while and I haven't really encountered that until like the last 2 or 3. I guess I've just been putting them together and they fit all right, but I put them together and they'll like just grind on one side, and so then I discovered that if I tap down or tap up, I can center the belt. And so I've got your belt tuned up here on that one. But if it bumps for any reason, if you're moving it around, or if some reason it's shipping, I try to wrap these up really good. If some reason it's not tracking right, you could tap down or tap up to get it moved right. Alright, I pull these out and then bump them back just a little bit, just because it makes it easier when the tension comes off to change the belt, because if they're all the way out and even the tension's down, then you're fighting them off. So I'll back it up just a little bit so you get some, you can pull it off. Snug these down, and then we'll get some tension on there. I'm going to start this off slow. The small wheel isn't something that typically you run at high speed, at really high speeds, and the reason for that is the small diameter here causes really high speeds in the bearings, high RPMs. These bearings, typically this bearing size is rated about 26,000 RPM, and you can exceed that on this machine because of the belt speed. So anyway, I usually keep them down lower. Most people keep them down really low. I'll go ahead and back it off to nothing. Hit start. And we'll get slow speed in there. You see what I mean there? By tapping that, you can get it to center. There's a lot of variables that go into getting it to track right. All of the geometry there, the geometry here, and then the belt. So even if you, and the wheel. I mean, I had a bigger wheel on here yesterday, and it was centered. I put this one on today, and I don't know if this bumped or something, but it got off a little bit and it was on this side. I'm going to stop it. Doesn't have near the momentum or the inertia. Check the reverse on this. Now it dropped over the other side. Change directions. Now you do want to be careful with these wheels. They are only held in by a slight angle. You want to be careful with these wheels. They're only held in by a slight angle so they can pop out easily, and if they drop, they're heavy enough that they'll ding the bearings and damage the bearing, and then it'll get noisy and it'll fail. The good thing is you can buy these bearings super cheap. I mean, like really cheap. Almost $1 a piece, I think, in some places.